The rain-slicked streets of Chicago gleamed like shattered glass under the sodium lamps, and Ethan Harper knew tonight was the night he'd finally pull the trigger. Not on a gun, but on the lie that had chained him for a decade. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A single word from an unknown number. "Uncle!" And just like that, the ghost of his sister's laughter echoed from the grave of their fractured family, pulling him back into the storm he'd fled. As he stepped into the diner where memories curdled like spoiled milk, Ethan spotted the boy across the booth, eyes wide with the innocence of secrets too heavy for a 12-year-old to carry, and in that instant, he realized forgiveness wasn't a choice. It was the blade that would either free him or finish him off. Ethan Harper pushed through the diner's revolving door, the bell jingling like a mocking chime against the downpour outside. The air inside was thick with the scent of burnt coffee and sizzling bacon, a greasy sanctuary for night shift souls nursing regrets over Formica counters. He was 32 now, lean from years of pounding pavement as a freelance photographer in the Windy City. His dark hair streaked with premature gray that spoke of battles fought in silence. Chicago had been his exile, a sprawling grid of steel and stone where he could vanish into the anonymity of crowds, far from the manicured lawns of suburban Ohio where his heart had first cracked open. He scanned the room, his pulse a staccato rhythm in his ears. The boy, his nephew, Caleb, sat hunched in the corner booth, hood pulled low over a mop of unruly brown curls that mirrored Ethan's own from childhood. The kid's fingers drummed nervously on a milkshake glass, condensation beating like sweat on his brow. Ethan hadn't seen him since he was a toddler, back when family photos still pretended at unity. Now, at 12, Caleb looked like a coltish version of the man Ethan might have become if life hadn't twisted him into knots. "Ethan?" Caleb's voice cracked, too soft against the clatter of plates. He slid out of the booth, standing awkwardly, all gangly limbs and uncertain eyes the color of Lake Michigan on a stormy day. "Yeah, kid, it's me." Ethan forced a smile, sliding into the seat opposite. Up close, Caleb's face was a map of familiar terrain. The high cheekbones from their mother, the stubborn jaw from Dad. But there was something new, a wariness like he'd learned to brace for blows. "You look taller than I remember." Caleb snorted, a ghost of a laugh. "It's been 10 years, Uncle Ethan. People change." He paused, fiddling with the straw in his shake. "Mom said you were busy, but I found your number in her old journal. She wrote about you a lot." The mention of Sarah hit like a sucker punch. Ethan's sister, 2 years his senior, the fierce protector who'd once stood between him and their father's belt when he was 15 and trembling, confessing over burnt Thanksgiving turkey that he liked boys. "He's my brother, Dad," she'd snarled, eyes blazing like 4th of July sparklers. "You touch him, you deal with me." That night, she'd held him as he sobbed, whispering promises of forever in the glow of her desk lamp. Fairy lights strung like a halo around her posters of boy bands and civil rights icons. But forever had a shelf life. By the time Ethan was 20, packing for art school in the city, Sarah had traded her rebel heart for a ring from Tom Whitaker, the golden boy from church youth group. "It's just different now, she'd said over the phone, voice brittle as autumn leaves. "Tom's family, they're traditional, and Dad's health. I can't fight every battle." The abandonment wasn't a door slam. It was a slow fade, texts unanswered, holidays skipped, until Ethan stopped calling. The last straw? Her wedding invitation, tucked in an envelope with a note. "Wish you could be here, but, you know." He'd burned it in a metal trash can on his fire escape, the flames licking up the words like accusations. "So," Ethan said, clearing the lump in his throat. "What's this about?" "Your text said it was important. Mom know you're out here in the middle of the night." Caleb's gaze dropped to the table, tracing the scarred wood with a fingertip. "Mom's gone. Car accident 6 months ago. Drunk driver." The words landed flat, rehearsed, but his lower lip quivered. "Dad's a mess. He drinks more now. And he hates me, Uncle Ethan. Because of, you know." Ethan's stomach twisted. "Because of what?" "Because I'm like you." Caleb lifted his chin, defiant. Gay. I told him last week, after Mom's stuff got unpacked. Found her journal, read about how she defended you, how proud she was. But then, she stopped. And Dad said it was your fault, that you poisoned her or something. He threw her books at the wall, called me a freak. The diner's hum faded to a roar in Ethan's ears. Sarah, gone. And this boy, his blood, carrying the same invisible scar. Jesus, Caleb, why didn't you call sooner? I didn't know if you'd answer. Dad said you were dead to us. Caleb pulled a worn leather journal from his backpack, sliding it across the table. Its cover was embossed with silver stars, the kind Sarah had doodled on as a teen. But Mom wrote everything in here. About the fight with Dad, how she wanted to reach out but was scared. And about you. She never stopped loving you, Uncle Ethan. She just broke. Ethan's hand hovered over the journal, fingers trembling. Touching it felt like grasping a live wire. Sarah's essence, electric and untamed. He flipped it open, the pages whispering secrets in her looping script. Entries from years ago. Ethan's photos are magic. He sees the world like no one else, raw, beautiful, unafraid. I wish I had his courage. Then darker. Tom's ultimatum. Church or family? God, what have I done? Ethan's silence is killing me. He closed it, heart pounding. This doesn't change the past, kid. Your mom's gone, but the hurt, it's still there. Caleb leaned forward, eyes pleading. Then help me. Dad's shipping me off to some conversion camp next month. Fix me, he calls it. I can't go. Please. Ethan's world tilted. Conversion camp. Echoes of horror stories from support groups. Kids broken on the altar of normalcy. He thought of his own coming out, the bruises fading slower than the shame. Sarah's defense had bought him time but not escape. Now her son begged for the same. All right? Ethan said, voice steady despite the quake inside. You're staying with me. We'll figure this out. As they stepped into the rain, Caleb's small hand slipping into his, Ethan felt the first crack in his armored heart. Chicago's skyline loomed like a promise or a trap. Little did he know, the journal held more than regrets. It cradled a betrayal that would unravel them both, forcing Ethan to confront not just family ghosts, but the love he'd buried deeper than any grave. The apartment was a third-floor walk-up in Wicker Park, cluttered with camera gear and half-finished canvases. Ethan's side hustle as a painter when gigs dried up. It smelled of turpentine and take-out Thai, a bachelor's chaos softened by posters of Ansel Adams and the occasional wildflower from a rooftop garden. Caleb dropped his backpack by the sagging couch, eyes wide as he took it in. Cool place. Like a museum. More like a junkyard with pretensions, Ethan quipped, flipping on the kettle for tea. He watched the boy perch on the edge of the cushions, backpack clutched like a shield. Hungry? There's leftover pizza. Caleb shook his head, unzipping the bag to reveal a stuffed bear, its fur matted from years of hugs. This was Mom's. She gave it to me when I was little. Said it was her lucky charm from when she stood up to Grandpa for you. Ethan's throat tightened. He remembered that bear, Mr. Whiskers, flung across the room during one of Dad's rages, only for Sarah to retrieve it, stitching its ear back with clumsy determination. She was always the fixer. They talked late into the night, the city humming beyond the rain-streaked windows. Caleb spilled fragments of life in Ohio, school bullies who called him Fairy after glimpsing him sketch a boy's profile in his notebook. Tom's escalating tempers, bottles clinking like accusations in the garage. Sarah's quiet rebellions, like slipping him books on Harvey Milk hidden in cereal boxes. She cried sometimes, Uncle Ethan. Said she wished she could hug you. Ethan shared sparingly at first. His art school days dodging slurs in dorms. The barista job that led to his first boyfriend. A fleeting musician named Riley who'd ghosted after Ethan dared mention family. But Caleb's earnest gaze coaxed more. The pride parade where he'd marched alone. Rainbow flag whipping like a lifeline. The therapy sessions paid for by tips, where he learned to name the ache as grief, not shame. By dawn, exhaustion claimed them. Caleb curled on the couch under a quilt pieced from Sarah's old band tees. Another relic Ethan had salvaged from a storage unit purge. As sleep tugged at him in the bedroom alcove, Ethan clutched the journal, its weight a anchor. Flipping to the final entry, dated weeks before the crash. If I don't make it, tell Ethan I'm sorry, and that I see him, really see him. The boy who taught me love isn't a battlefield. Tears blurred the ink. Sorry wasn't enough, but it was a start. Days blurred into a fragile routine. Ethan juggled shoots, corporate headshots by day, gritty street portraits at dusk, while Caleb tagged along, wide-eyed behind the lens. Teach me, the boy begged, and Ethan did, showing him how light bent around pain, turning shadows into stories. Evenings were for homework at the scarred oak table. Caleb's math problems interspersed with questions about being gay in the city. Ethan took him to Boys Town, the neon pulse of rainbow flags and laughter spilling from cafes, where couples held hands without fear. Caleb's awe was a balm. It's like breathing easy. But Tom loomed like a thunderhead. Voicemails piled up, slurred and venomous. You think you can steal my boy? He's coming home. Freak. Legal threats followed, emails from a small-town lawyer citing custody papers Sarah had signed in a haze of postpartum bliss. Ethan ignored them, focusing on the petition for guardianship he'd filed pro bono through a queer legal aid clinic. We've got a shot, his advocate, a sharp-witted Latina named Maria, assured him. Blood's thicker than bigotry. Yet doubt gnawed. Nights, Ethan paced the fire escape, cigarette smoke curling into the stars. Sarah's journal became his confessor, pages dog-eared with revelations. Her guilt over the wedding snub, Tom's pressure to choose sides. A miscarriage she'd hidden from everyone but the ink. One entry gutted him. Ethan deserved better. I chose safety over soul. The Caleb ever. God, let him have what I denied his uncle. He was mid-revelation when the knock came. Sharp, insistent. Through the peephole, Tom's face, florid and furious, flanked by a burly deputy. Open up, Harper. This ends now. The door rattled under Tom's fist, each pound echoing like a heartbeat in overdrive. Ethan pressed his palm flat against the wood, steadying himself as Caleb froze in the kitchenette, mug of cocoa trembling in his grip. Stay back, Ethan whispered, voice low and even. The photographer's calm he'd honed framing chaos through a viewfinder. He cracked the door, chain engaged, meeting his brother-in-law's bloodshot glare. Tom, this is my home. You can't just. Like hell I can't. Tom's breath reeked of whiskey, his polo shirt untucked over a paunch that spoke of consoling drafts. The deputy shifted uncomfortably behind him, badge glinting under the hall light. Caleb's mine. Court's on my side. Sarah made it clear. Ethan's jaw clenched. Sarah's not here to speak for herself. And Caleb? He's chosen. From the shadows, Caleb stepped forward, chin lifted. I don't want to go back, Dad. You hate me. Tom's face crumpled, then hardened, a mask cracking under strain. Boy, you don't know what you're saying. This city's poison turns good kids twisted. Your uncle's the proof. He jabbed a finger at Ethan. Always was the black sheep. Sarah tried to save him, but look what happened. She died ashamed. The words landed like shrapnel. Ethan unchained the door, stepping into the fray. Get out, or I call your bluff right here. The deputy cleared his throat. Mr. Whitaker, we can do this civil. Papers say temporary custody pending hearing. But the boy's gotta come. Caleb's hand found Ethan's sleeve, a silent anchor. No, Uncle Ethan's my family now. Tom lunged, but the deputy blocked him, murmuring about escalation. Defeated, Tom spat. This ain't over, Harper. You'll regret dragging her name through your filth. He stormed down the stairs, leaving a wake of stale cologne and shattered trust. Inside, Caleb collapsed against the wall, sobs racking his frame. Ethan pulled him close, the boy's curls damp against his chest. Hey, it's okay. Maria's on it, we fight in court, not fists. But as he held his nephew, the journal's weight in his pocket burned. Sarah's words replayed. Tom knows about the letters I wrote to Eth but never sent. He burned them, said it was for the best. Letters? Ethan had assumed silence was choice, not censorship. The betrayal layered deeper, a family wound festering unchecked. The hearing was set for 2 weeks out, a pressure cooker in Cook County's labyrinthine courts. Ethan threw himself into prep, Maria drilling them on testimonies while Caleb practiced lines in front of the bathroom mirror. I feel safe with Uncle Ethan. He listens. Between, life insisted school enrollment at a progressive charter downtown, where Caleb's sketches earned nods from art teachers who saw echoes of Ethan's raw talent. It was during one such evening, paint splattered and pizza boxed, that Caleb unearthed the first thread of the unraveling. Rifling through Ethan's darkroom supplies for photo paper, he paused at a box labeled Ohio 05. Inside, faded prints from Sarah's wedding, the ones Ethan had shot as a favor before the rift. You were there, Caleb asked, holding a candid of Sarah mid-laugh. Vale askew. Ethan nodded, throat tight. Last time I saw her alive. She looked radiant, but her eyes haunted. Caleb flipped through, stopping at a blurry shot. Sarah and Tom arguing in the vestry, her hand on a hidden belly. Subtle but unmistakable. Wait, Mom was pregnant here? With me. The room spun. Ethan grabbed the print, enlargement confirming it. A slight curve under lace, Tom's hand possessive on her waist. Caleb had been born 9 months later, the miracle that sealed their vows. But Sarah's journal mentioned the miscarriage? Earlier or? I need air, Ethan muttered, bolting to the fire escape. Chicago's breeze carried the distant L rumble, a mechanical heartbeat. Minutes later, Caleb joined him, journal in hand. Look, the boy said, open to a page Ethan had skimmed. Tom found out about the baby, mine from before. He thinks it's his, but the dates. God, what a mess. Eth would understand, but I can't tell him. Not now. The implication crashed like waves on Navy Pier. Sarah, pregnant with Caleb from. Who? Not Tom. A lover? An affair? Ethan's mind reeled to art school days. Sarah visiting once, flushed and secretive, mentioning a friend from her job at the gallery. She was seeing someone, he whispered. Before Tom. An artist, I think. Woman. Caleb's eyes widened. Auntie? Mom was. Gay too? Or bi? Doesn't matter. She hid it. Ethan gripped the railing, knuckles white. Tom knew. That's why he burned the letters. Blackmailed her into silence. Into him. The boy sank down, bear clutched tight. So I'm not his. You're Sarah's. That's enough. But the lie tasted bitter. Tom's rage, the custody war. It wasn't just homophobia. It was possession. A father's claim on a child not his blood. They didn't sleep that night. Dawn brought resolve. Confront Tom. Expose the truth for leverage. But as Ethan dialed Maria, a knock echoed. Gentler this time. A courier, envelope in hand. Court date advanced. Tom's petition bolstered by witness statements from Ohio kin. Dad's scrawl. Family sticks together. Except you. Desperation clawed. Ethan took Caleb to the lakefront, waves lapping like confessions. We run if we have to, he said. Portland, maybe. Fresh start. Caleb shook his head. No. Mom fought for you. We fight. Their alliance deepened in those stolen days. A bond forged in firelight confessions. Ethan opened up about Riley. The love that bloomed in coffee steam, wilted under family shadows. He said I carried too much baggage. Maybe he was right. Caleb shared crushes. A classmate's smile, the terror of reciprocation. What if I end up alone like you? Ethan laughed. Soft. Alone? Kid, I've got a city of stories. And now you. It was romantic, in a platonic uncle-nephew way. Their walks hand in hand through Millennium Park, being sculpture mirroring distorted truths. Shared sunsets from Adler Planetarium, stars plotting escapes. But romance bloomed elsewhere, unbidden. At a gallery opening for Ethan's street series, Shadows Unseen, he locked eyes with Javier, a curator with warm brown skin and a laugh like summer thunder. Javier, 35, divorced from a life of closets in Miami, now out and proud in Chicago's art scene. You're capturing pain like poetry, Javier said over Merlot, fingers brushing Ethan's as he passed a glass. Or just surviving it, Ethan replied, pulse quickening. Their first kiss happened weeks later under the L tracks, rain a curtain around them. Javier's touch was tentative, reverent, lips tasting of hope, hands mapping scars without judgment. Tell me your story, he murmured against Ethan's neck. Not yet, Ethan whispered. Too many ghosts. Caleb cheered from afar, spying from a bench. Finally, you deserve cute, Uncle Lee. But ghosts gathered. Tom's next move was a bomb. A private investigator's report emailed anonymously, dredging Ethan's past. Arrest for indecent exposure at a pride rally. A false flag, cop harassment. Flings twisted into instability. Worse. A photo of Ethan and Caleb, captioned, inappropriate conduct. Rage boiled. Ethan stormed Tom's motel on the city's edge, pounding until the door yielded. Tom lounged on the bed, bottle in hand, Sarah's wedding portrait mocking from the nightstand. You son of a, this ends. We know about the baby. Caleb's not yours. Tom's laugh was hollow. Think that matters? Blood or not, he's mine by law. Sarah chose me. Over you, over her little secrets. Ethan grabbed his collar. She wrote it all down. Lies, Tom. You trapped her. Tom's eyes gleamed. Manic. Trapped? I saved her. From your world. And now, I'll save the boy too. The scuffle drew security. Ethan left with a split lip and a warning. Back home, Javier cleaned the wound. Ice pack gentle. You're not alone in this, he said, pulling Ethan close. Their night unfolded in whispers and touches. Passionate, but chaste. Emotions raw as exposed film. Javier's stories of his own family rift mirrored Ethan's. A bridge across divides. Yet dawn brought dread. Caleb, pale at breakfast. I overheard Dad on the phone. He's bringing Grandpa to court. To testify against you. The patriarch, 80 now, Parkinson's trembling his hands but not his hate. Ethan's hook, the journal, might not sway a judge jaded by sob stories. As the hearing loomed, Ethan felt the climax build. A storm front rolling in from Lake Michigan. Betrayal's echoes grew louder, demanding reckoning. Little did he know, Caleb held one final card. A revelation that would shatter the facade and force a choice. Vengeance or grace. The courtroom smelled of polished oak and stale desperation. Fluorescent lights buzzing like judgmental hornets overhead. Ethan sat ramrod straight in the gallery's back row, Caleb's hands slick with sweat in his. Javier flanked them, a quiet pillar, his presence a talisman against the chill. Across the aisle, Tom slouched beside their father, Harold Harper. Once a towering auto worker, now a frail specter in an ill-fitting suit, cane tapping impatience. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with silver streaks, scanned the docket. Whitaker versus Harper, custody of minor. Maria rose, sharp in her power suit. Your Honor, my client, Ethan Harper, seeks emergency guardianship. The minor, Caleb Whitaker, faces imminent harm in his father's care. Emotional abuse tied to the child's sexual orientation. Tom's lawyer, a slick weasel from the burbs, countered with affidavits. Ethan's erratic lifestyle. The PI's dirt, Harold's testimony prepped like a loaded gun. Mr. Whitaker offers stability, family values. This uncle, a flight risk, morally unfit. The judge's gavel cracked. Witnesses, Mr. Whitaker first. Tom took the stand, oath sworn with theatrical solemnity. He painted a portrait of devoted dad. PDA meetings, Little League cheers, Sarah's saintly memory. Ethan's influence, it's toxic, turned my boy against me. After Sarah's death, I tried to guide him straight, but he trailed off, eyes glistening on cue. Objection, Maria snapped. Irrelevant prejudice. Sustained. Stick to facts, counsel. But the damage seeped. Caleb fidgeted, whispering, he's lying. About everything. Next, Harold. Assisted to the box, his voice quavered but venom held. My son Ethan, he shamed us. Came out, tore the family. Sarah defended him once, foolish girl. Paid for it her whole life. He glared at Ethan, finger accusatory. Now he poisons the boy. Blood don't mean right. Ethan's chest caved. Those eyes. Same as the ones that once swelled his shut. Bible verses spat like curses. Sarah's journal burned in his briefcase, but Maria held fire. We'll introduce evidence post-cross. The break came like a gasp. In the hallway, Javier squeezed Ethan's shoulder. Breathe. You're the steady one here. Caleb tugged his sleeve. Uncle, I have to tell you something. From Mom's journal, the last part. I didn't read it till last night. They ducked into a restroom, door locked. Caleb's voice echoed off tiles. It's about Dad. Tom. He caused the accident. Ethan froze. What? Journal says she confronted him about the PI hired to spy on you, but he used it on her too. Found out about her lover, the woman from the gallery. They fought that night. She drove off mad. Rain pouring. He followed, tried to stop her, rear-ended her on the interstate. Cops ruled it drunk driver hit and run, but Mom wrote, Tom's truck dent. Same color. If I die, know he pushed me to it. The world grayed. Murder? Manslaughter? Ethan's mind raced. Brake lights in rain, Sarah's swerve. Why hide it? Scared. For me. Wanted proof. Caleb pulled a folded paper from his pocket. Photo printout. Time-stamped. Tom's truck. Fender crumpled. Parked crooked post-crash. Maria's eyes lit when shown. This changes everything. Motive cover-up. We pivot. Protective order. Criminal referral. Court resumed. Air electric. Maria called Ethan. Tell us about Sarah. He spoke from the gut. Voice steady as shutter click. She was my shield. Stood up when I couldn't. But Tom. He broke her. Isolated her. Burned her truths. And now, threatens her son. The boy she died protecting. Cross-exam. You claim moral high ground? With your lifestyle? Love isn't a vice. Ethan shot back. Hate is. Then Caleb, small but unbowed. Dad drinks. Calls me names. Mom's journal says he hurt her. I want to stay with Uncle Ethan. He sees me. Tom's lawyer pounced. The journal, unverified hearsay. Maria unveiled it. Pages entered. Sarah's script a silent witness. Gasps rippled. Harold blanched, mumbling denials. But the hammer fell with the photo. Exhibit B, Maria declared. Mr. Whitaker's vehicle damaged night of crash. Matches scene forensics overlooked. Tom bolted up. Lies. That queer's framing me. Chaos erupted. Deputies restraining. Judge banging gavel. Bailiff. Order. In the melee, Harold collapsed, cane clattering. Paramedics swarmed. Ethan rushed forward. Instinct overriding hate. Dad. Harold's eyes, milky with age, locked on his. She wrote about me too. The belt. The words. Forgave me, said. But you never did. The ambulance wailed away. Harold stabilized but shattered. Tom was cuffed for questioning. Reckless endangerment probe launched. The judge recessed, granting temporary stay with Ethan, pending investigation. Outside, rain cleared to hesitant sun. Javier enveloped Ethan, kiss fierce under courthouse eaves. You did it. For her. For him. Caleb hugged them both, a trio against the world. Mom's watching, smiling, but victory soured at the hospital. Harold, tube snaking, beckoned Ethan alone. Read the last page. Sarah's. For you. In the journal's final scrawl. If Tom's truth outs, don't hate. He loved fierce, wrong way. Like Dad loved God blind. Forgive for Caleb. Build what we broke. Tears fell. Ethan sat vigil through night. Harold snores ragged. Dawn, the old man woke. Sorry, son. For the boy I beat down. Words Ethan never dreamed. Me too, Dad. For holding the grudge. Discharge brought fragile peace. Harold to rehab, Tom to pleas and therapy, court mandating family counseling. Ethan drove home via the lake, windows down, wind whipping secrets free. Yet conflict simmered. Javier, over dinner that week, Homemade lasagna. Caleb's attempt at normal. Push gently. The journal's out. What's next? You can't bury love forever. Ethan traced his fork. Riley's ghost lingering. I'm trying. But family. It's a minefield. Javier's hand covered his. Then let's defuse it together. Romance unfurled slow. A Polaroid developing. Dates to Art Institute. Hands laced through Monet's lilies. Quiet nights with Caleb asleep. Bodies entwined in whispers of futures. Javier's vulnerability. Tales of Cuban roots. A father's disownment. Mirrored Ethan's. Forging intimacy deeper than skin. Caleb thrived. Sketches sold at school fair. First crush confessed to a kind-eyed peer named Alex. Like you and Javier, he grinned. But betrayal's shadow lingered. Tom's emails, from holding, for Sarah, make him straight. Ethan deleted, but doubt crept. Had he truly forgiven, or just postponed the storm? The climax crested at Sarah's memorial, a year post-crash. Ohio kin gathered in the old church, stained glass filtering grace. Ethan spoke, journal in hand. She defended me once, abandoned from fear, but loved always. Tom, shackled by terms but free on bond, approached post-service. The boy's mine by heart, but, take him, fix what I broke. Ethan nodded, no triumph, only ache. We all fix, together. As they drove back, Caleb asleep in rear, Javier at wheel, Ethan felt the turn. Betrayal's echo faded, replaced by harmony's hum. Human, flawed, but whole. Months wove into seasons, Chicago's brutal winter yielding to tentative spring. Buds pushing through concrete like stubborn hopes. Ethan's life, once a solo exposure, sharpened into focus. Caleb enrolled full-time at the Charter, his artwork blooming in hallway galleries. Javier moved a toothbrush into the drawer, their mornings a symphony of coffee grinds and stolen kisses. The apartment evolved, walls lined with Caleb's portraits, a triptych of family redefined. Ethan midlaugh, Javier sketching, the three at Pride, flags fluttering like phoenix wings. Tom's trial dragged, a media whisper in true crime podcasts, suburban secrets, the crash that unraveled kin. He pled to manslaughter, sentence light. Probation, mandated AA, supervised visits with Caleb. The boy navigated it with Ethan's coaching, boundaries firm, heart cracked open. He said sorry, Caleb reported after first meet, voice small. For Mom. For me. Ethan nodded, pride swelling. That's step one. Harold's rehab bore fruit too, weekly calls evolving from grunts to stories. Ballgames in the 70s, Sarah's first steps on factory grass. A visit to the city, wheelchair-bound but eyes alive, watching Caleb demo camera tricks. Like your ma, he rasped, hand on Ethan's shoulder. No more belts, only bridges. Yet the journal lingered, a talisman on the mantle. Ethan revisited it on quiet nights, Javier's arm a warm weight. Sarah's words evolved in his reading, from wound to wisdom. She was by, he confided one evening, fire crackling in the thrift store grate. Hid it for Dad's sake, then Tom's. Chose survival over self. Javier traced his jaw. Like you chose exile over explosion. But look, you're out. Fully. The romance deepened. A slow burn to steady flame. Javier proposed collaboration. A photo exhibit, echoes, blending Ethan's lenses with his curations. Queer families, hidden histories. Opening night buzzed. Critics lauding raw humanism. Collectors snapping prints of intertwined hands. A nephew's grin. In the crowd, Tom lurked at edges, Caleb waving him closer. Awkward hugs, but progress, a photo together, first in years. Climax revisited subtly, in a storm of its own. Summer heat wave, Ethan shooting a rally. Black Lives Matter fused with pride, bodies chanting unity. Javier volunteered medics. Caleb documented with a borrowed Nikon. Tensions flared. Counter-protesters hurling slurs, a bottle shattering near. In the surge, Ethan shielded a fallen teen, lens cracking under boot. Bruised but unbroken, he captured the melee, fists raised, love defiant. Back home, adrenaline crashed. Javier bandaged knuckles, lips brushing each. Hero, he teased. Survivor, Ethan corrected, pulling him down. Their lovemaking was fierce, emotional, bodies a language of trust, no rush to ruin. Afterward, tangled sheets, Javier whispered, "Marry me. Not now, but someday." With him. Ethan's yes was a breath, heart full. Autumn brought harvest. Caleb's first school dance, Alex shy in a borrowed tie. Ethan chauffeured, Javier snapping candids. "Proud papa," the boy joked, dashing off. Watching taillights fade, Ethan turned to Javier on the stoop. "This, us, him. It's what Sarah dreamed." Javier smiled, ringless finger laced. "She built the foundation. We live it." Winter's Eve, snow blanketing the lake. They gathered for Hanukkah. Javier's tradition. Menorah flickering beside a Christmas tree strung with Sarah's ornaments. Harold zoomed in, toasting lax. Tom sent a card, tentative olive branch. Caleb lit candles, reciting blessings with a lisp long outgrown. As flames danced, Ethan opened the journal one last time, to a blank page. He penned his own. "Sis, we made it. Forgiven. Free. Love, your brother, who sees you too." The ending wasn't tidy, no villains vanquished, no scars erased. Betrayal's echo lingered in quiet moments, a reminder of fractures mended with grit and grace. But in the humanism of it, flawed kin reclaiming kin, love-defying labels, Ethan found redemption. Years on, Caleb would graduate art-bound for RISD, Alex hand in hand. Ethan and Javier, vows exchanged on a Brooklyn rooftop, nod to roots, would adopt a sibling set, expanding the mosaic. Harold's eulogy, delivered shaky. "My boy taught me late, love wins, always." And Sarah, her spirit, inked and indelible, whispered through winds off the lake, "Build on. Echo no more." In Chicago's endless reinvention, they did.